All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Basic Money Podcast. I'm Josh. Right next to me is my boy.
I'm Keith,
There
his
we go.
boy.
Welcome to another great episode. This one I'm really excited to give you guys because I hate thinking about money. I really believe that if you put it on autopilot with all the technology we have available to you now, you can set that aside to where you don't have to think about it either if you don't like to think about it. Now, if you're a money nerd and you look at your spreadsheets and you like to look at that every day, great for you. This will still make your life a little easier.
Yeah, so coming from a basic standpoint, having to think about, where our money needs to go, what we need to pay for, how we need to pay it, having things in place that automatically do that for us, save us time and save us worry because we can get busy. There may be times where we don't have things set up like automatic notifications on our phones that tell us when minimum payments are due, when bills are due, and we might go a week and we go, oh no, this bill's due tomorrow, I completely forgot about it. So we want to avoid that stress, and we want to be able to implement ways that are already in existence that you probably already have access to that can help with that.
Yeah, so this is about setting your finances on autopilot. So the first thing is, if your employer offers it, is to sign up for direct deposit. You get your money on payday, and you don't have to worry about rushing to a bank, doing digital deposits, trying to cash a check. Just automatically have it in there, and you're good to now start the other parts of the process.
Yeah, and I've heard like a rumor of someone saying like, oh, but then they're connected to your bank account, they could take the money out. That's not how direct deposit works.
Yeah, you actually have to give someone authorization to be able to pull money out.
You're giving them authorization to give you money.
Yeah, so it's a one-way street on that.
Yes.
All right, so once you have that in place, the next thing you should do, and before we go a little bit further, there are two companies that I know do great, M1 Finance and Wealthfront. We'll probably have some links below. Click on those, help support those who help support us. So you have that set up. Now you have it to where your money is in there. The next thing you do, automatic transfers to, first thing, an emergency fund. That basic savings cushion that you're gonna have for drastic things should they come up. Second thing is to any retirement or investments accounts. You set that up to automatically go in there, whatever percentage it is, whatever amount it is. And then the next one is an account for bills or an envelope for bills. Just set aside, like this covers my rent, my utilities, whatever, that's in that account. And then you can have the last one divvied up to like, this is my fun money. This is whatever I want to do. This is my spending, my going out, whatever. You have that automatically set up, and you only have access to the one with the debit card. That's your fun money. Everything else is automatic setup, automatic savings, automatic investing, automatic set aside to pay my bills.
Now, is that set up where if you have the direct deposit set up with your employer, you can go in to, let's say, that deposit account, like that account that's depositing the money, and you can manually input like where that check needs to go as far as percentages? Or
so Wealthfront does it like that, is their new thing. You can even do this with any traditional bank accounts. Just make sure that when you open those multiple accounts or however it is, that they don't charge you fees for that. It's the stupidest thing. So try to find an institution that won't charge you fees to have that. So whether they call it an envelope system or they call it separate accounts, it is just an easier way to manage your life if everything is just divvied up and sent automatically. And then the next step is your bills. Get those set up to automatic payment. If it's ones that fluctuate a lot, like your electricity and your gas, try to see if there's an equal pay option to where they average out for the full year and you just pay that so that you know exactly the set amount. Otherwise, you can set up in your account a certain amount of cushion. Like if you know your rent is this, your utilities is this, but on some days, like here in the Las Vegas heat, it can get really hot in the summer and you might need a few hundred rather than a few tens of dollars to pay the electricity bill. Just have in there that, I'm gonna have this amount in there as that cushion to make sure that that covers for the month. And set those to pay automatic so that you never miss any of those.
Yeah.
And if you have credit cards and you're building up your credit like we suggest, then make sure you have that also set to automatically pay in full. Don't run a balance. Pay those off in full so that you're building, but you're not going backwards in the interest payment side of things.
Yeah, I feel like there's just no better feeling than when you have so much money that like you've paid off everything, and then you're looking at it like, wow, like I have a nice chunk of change. But getting into that system where you're doing stuff like this, you'll be more in the mindset of, okay, this is more that I could save, this is more that I can keep in my back pocket, as opposed to, oh great, spending time.
Yeah. So this basically clears it up to where your now whole financial life, your basic payments of things to survive and live is all covered, and you don't even have to think about it. And all you get to look at is your one account with your one card, and you're like, this is my money. This is the account you want to look at. This is all for me, because you can do whatever you want with this money right there. Everything else, you set that in the shadows, it works, your life is on autopilot. You now don't even have to worry and look at money anymore. All you look at is, how much money do I got to spend? Great, because you know everything else is covered. This right here, you setting this up at the beginning, it might take you, a few hours at the very beginning to make sure it's all set up correctly, it's running good, to calculate maybe how much you need in a certain account to make sure you cover your basic living expenses. But once this is set up, you only have to look at it again for 10 minutes, maybe every other month or so, to make sure that it's still running smoothly, that it's good, to give yourself a pat on the back of how much you've had to save without even looking and worrying and thinking about it. And also, this is a good time too if you start getting pay raises or doing other stuff to get increases in your income, where you can start adjusting some of your allocations to, like, maybe, hey, more stuff's coming in, I can start, pumping that up into my investment. Or I don't have to worry, some's going to investment, automatically some goes into my fund money account. Your lifestyle can naturally start going up in a good way. Yeah. It's not inflating and living a better life more than you can afford. Now you're actually knowing that you can afford a slightly better life because everything is covered.
And the one thing I'll say about all these tips, because it's very good, is to just be on top of what's going on too, because as much as it's good to have them on autopilot, you want to make sure, let's say there's a bill that you're paying, and let's say possibly it's an electric bill and you're being very, frugal with your electric, and you're like overpaying to where now there's a credit on the account. So little things like that you want to also keep in touch with and make sure that you're not overpaying anything, or that you have a lot of credit on the account. And that, for me, I did that with my gas bills. I think I was paying electric and gas $50 a month each, and it was pretty much lasting and it was evening out. But then the gas bills started getting really low, and I remember I got a bill in the mail finally, and it said like credit $200. I was like, oh, that's a thing. Yeah. It was nice, didn't have to pay electric for like a year. But something like that is also good to just at least be on top of, so that you know, okay, this is automatically going on, but I also know where it stands too.
Yeah, if that general savings, that emergency savings account has, 6 months, has a year worth of basic living expenses, you don't have to fund that anymore. Yeah. You can reallocate that part. So the initial setup on it is to make sure it's built and it's there, but once it's done, come back, recheck it. You're like, hey, that's enough in there that, worst comes to worst, I lose my main job, or however way it works. I can subsist for a while, and then, just move it to the next thing, maybe to an investment. Heck, if you want to spend more money out on the weekends, you can start putting it towards that. Yeah. But setting this up on autopilot makes everything else a little easier, because now you can devote more time to, your family, your career, your hobbies, whatever you want to do. And you now don't have to worry about the finance part and paying for your life. Yeah,
especially like when you're getting new into finance and new into like credit and building all that, it can get a little stressful because you're worrying like, oh, do I owe anybody money? Like, am I going to get a letter in the mail saying, hey, we haven't received payment in a year, so we're going to charge you all this interest even though we never contacted you? You owe money to someone, they will find ways to let you know that. And when it comes to just like credit cards and bills and stuff, if that's all set up in your account already, then it's all in one place. You don't have to worry about hopping to a different account or trying to figure out how you got to know where you got to pay when. Having it already set up in your system can do that for you.
Yeah, so set up your financial life on autopilot. It makes the rest of your things easier to deal with, and you'll have less stress on that part. And this is a good framework to set up a very important runway of how you can make the rest of your life easier when it's about money.
And I think that about money talk is enough for today.
That's it. I'm Josh.
I'm Keith, and we hope that you could take some of this advice and share it with someone you think can really use it. Please leave a like, subscribe if you like the content, and leave a comment on some strategies you do or other platforms that you use for auto financing that can help other people. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yep. So until next time, peace.
I don't know why I did that.
Jazz hands.
They're like little butterflies.
When doves fly.
We want them to learn and then grow and then fly away and then graduate to the Advanced Money Podcast.
In the future, there will be an Advanced Money Podcast.